I saw the story, Leo and Rana, about this terrible killing. 3 women who dedicated their lives to treating military veterans. There was a guy who had post-traumatic stress, fatally shot all 3, then kills himself out in California. Some place called the Pathway Home, a privately run treatment program housed at Veterans Home of California. 1,000 former U.S. service members reside there. It's the largest veterans home in America. And so a guy walks in who has been kicked out of the home and starts firing a gun. I'm not sure what PTSD means, and I wanted to get someone to come on the show and kind of give us a little information about that to put it in perspective. Shannon Walker's with us right now. She's an expert on PTSD, and she's with a group called NorthwestBattleBuddies.org. I want to hear about that. Hey, Shannon, glad you joined us on the show today.
Yeah, thank you very much. Good morning.
Shannon, tell me, what is Northwest Battle Buddies, your organization? What is that organization?
Thank you. Well, we are a nonprofit, and what we do is we provide service dogs to combat veterans who have PTSD, and we provide highly trained service dogs at no charge to them. And we gift them to these dogs, and we have an ongoing relationship, making sure these dogs stay recertified each year and supporting the veterans to make sure this dog is bringing the freedom and independence in their life and actually helping them overcome their symptoms of PTSD so they can have a life of freedom and independence and learn how to navigate their symptoms and have a better life and be a great member of society. And we're 6 years old, and it's been tremendously successful.
Well, tell me this, if you will, Shannon. Explain to my listeners exactly what PTSD is. Just what is that? What do the initials stand for, and what is PTSD?
Yeah, well, broken down more simply, the PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, is a mental disorder often caused by experiencing trauma, a life-experiencing event such as sexual assault, warfare, that's our combat veterans, car accidents, national disasters. In our industry, we often call, PTSD, we call them invisible wounds of war as an example, because our veterans, when somebody comes back and they've been physically altered or dismembered because of war, it's a given, and we understand more. We see that they were in combat. We see that they experienced trauma. But invisible wounds of war, this is something that has taken on, it's happened to them mentally, and we don't see it. It's not a visual to any of us in society that they have been through a trauma and might be affected. And the symptoms of PTSD can be very debilitating in somebody's life, and it's very, very misunderstood in the public. And obviously, we are not doing enough for our veterans that have PTSD, and it's very misunderstood. And I appreciate shows like this because we need to understand it and not fear it. Because the one thing that I want to say today especially is that what happened in California amongst our with this gentleman, the veteran, we have to understand this was an anomaly. This does not represent people with PTSD. This does not represent our American heroes that have fought so bravely for us, that continue to come back and serve our country in the fact that they're still living with their trauma. We may just not understand it, and we have to do more for that. We have to do more for that.
I wonder, and Rana, you and Leo and I can talk about this later after we finish talking to Shannon, but it just seems like every week there's something in the news regarding the lack of treatment going towards our veterans. You saw whether the Veterans Administration is under attack here recently for misusing millions of dollars of funds. I know in the case of a veteran that I do some work with, that he has to drive for special treatment 3 or 4 hours to find proper veterans care. Where I'm on Medicare, I can walk down to my local doctor. It just seems like the whole flow of taking care of our veterans who are out there defending us just is just not working right. Are you satisfied, Shannon, with the response that the veterans you work with are getting, or am I off the map on that?
Yeah, no, I'm not satisfied at all, and that's one of the reasons that I started Northwest Battle Buddies 6 years ago. My father served in the military, and I'm a single mom, and my twin sons are in the military. And the men and women that I have met in our organization, Northwest Battle Buddies, it's just unbelievable, their frustration and their lack of trust and disappointment in not only the help that is out there at times for them. And that's not every organization. And of course, I don't consider us in that category because we work very hard to serve them, and we serve them with excellence, and we've really made a difference in the lives of the men and women that we have helped. But it's incredibly frustrating, and they're misunderstood, and that only compounds the symptoms of PTSD that they're dealing with, which is, fear of people, fear of crowds, panic attacks, night terrors. I mean, the things that they're dealing with on a regular basis, just trying to live their life after coming home after serving their country. And especially at the VA, not to mention the medications that they're having to, because that is the typical treatment, is medications for them, which is not the answer. And some of our toughest days for our veterans are the days that their medications have been changed. And one of their most exciting days is after they've received our service dogs, is they are absolutely, they're able to greatly decrease their medications that they've been on maybe for decades, or they're completely off of their medications, feeling so much better about life and healthier and a tremendous asset to society with their service dog at their side. So it's a huge issue, and it's very important that we do our best to understand it. But even, we can't rely on the government. We as free Americans that appreciate our freedom have to find ways that we can step out as a society, like we've done at Northwest Battle Buddies, to say thank you and help them in a life-changing way to help them overcome and be healthier.
Hey, Shannon, Leo Honeycutt here. My uncle spent 2 years in Vietnam, and he came back a changed person and not for the better. And he did have nights when he would wake up and yell something because my aunt talked about it, and then pull the mattress over on top of them as protection in the middle of the night. And I don't think he ever really got treated for that. I'm not sure. If you're 50 years after the fact, do you think there would be treatment for that?
Well, I will say this. We have 51 service dogs out there right now with our American heroes, and every single one of our service dogs wakes our veterans up from their night terrors. Every single one of them does. And not only do they wake them up and bring them out of that moment, but they also immediately offer that consistent reassurance after the fact. And a lot of our veterans are sleeping better. I don't believe there isn't a cure for PTSD, but you can absolutely, through proper treatments and finding what works for the individual, because a service dog isn't for everybody, but you can absolutely help them overcome and minimize the symptoms of PTSD so it's not driving their life. For them to learn and gain skills and have support, it helps them learn to manage their symptoms and overcome their symptoms to where it's not as debilitating as it may have been before.
Is that what you, do you just ask the Veterans Administration for one of these dogs, or how do you do that?
Well, the Veterans Administration does not provide service dogs for veterans.
Well, there you go.
At this point. Exactly. We get referred by the VA all the time. But our dogs are privately funded, and we have an organization of people that we are continually always looking to seek help and support because these dogs are privately funded. They cost us about $25,000 each.
Wow.
But we provide them free of charge to these veterans. Our dogs go through 7 months to a year of training, and then our veterans come here and commit 6 weeks of training, 5 days a week, learning how to navigate life with those dogs. These dogs represent hope to such a degree for our veterans that they're willing to leave their families, leave their homes, because we're nationwide, and they'll come be outside, in public, 5 days a week for 6 weeks, learning how to have excellence with this dog so this dog can serve them. And they go through, we have veterans that have not been in a mall in decades, and they go out in a mall because the hope that service dog represents to them helps them overcome. It's amazing.
Right. Shannon, listen, we're out of time. So glad to have you on the show. We'd like to get you back again because you really know what your business on PTSD, a very serious problem. Shannon's website is northwestbattlebuddies.org, and that website will be on our website at radiocommonsense.com for you to pick up. Hey, Shannon, glad you spent some time with us. Good luck to you. Hope we can talk to you again.
Thank you very much. Have a great day.
And we'll be right back after this message.